Hey everybody, if you've been around event production at all, you've probably seen this. This is the Perfect Cue remote, and it's pretty much the standard for any event production because it does really good. It's really good. It's not your standard little presentation remote that you have when you're placing your laptop right next to you and you walk around. This thing is meant for doing things like shows where you're at a long distance away, where the laptop's in the back of the computer or the back of the building, and it goes 250 feet. It's pretty good. It's pretty much the standard when it comes to that. But I've found something new new for me anyways, the Audio Ape remote. This thing is amazing. So this is the receiver for it, and it's a touch screen and it plugs right in USB-C. It's designed by somebody who's doing shows, doing things like that. And one of the main reasons that I liked it is it doesn't just do the button clicks like this does. So this thing, when you press this big button here, this just sends, you can configure it a little bit with an app that you have. And I think the app is only Windows. So us Mac users are pretty much left out. So what it does when you push that big green button is it presses the right arrow. When you press this little here arrow to go back here, it sends the left arrow. And then there's one more button for blank. But it literally just pushes the arrows. So your application has to be front and center. If you're using ProPresenter, you have to have ProPresenter up and center. If you're using any other apps, you have to have that focused in order for that to work. And us people who are doing productions, sometimes we're using our computers for multiple things, so we can't have it up and running. The thing I like about this Audio Ape remote right here is this thing, you can send all sorts of commands to it. You can send any keyboard commands to it. So pretty much any letter, anything. You can use it to send MIDI commands. So that's where I'm actually liking it, because it sends MIDI commands to my app. And then it also allows you to control the media. So if you notice, it has a volume up and volume down on there, and essentially a plus and minus. And essentially what that does is it allows you to do things like play, pause, volume up, volume down on your computer, things that you can't do with the Perfect Cue. And so one of the other things that's really amazing about this thing is the range. So I mentioned that the Perfect Cue only goes 250 feet. This thing goes 2,500 feet. That is insane. 2,500 feet. And one of the other reasons that I wanted to get it is because it did that range, and it does what's called frequency hopping. And so if you're in a busy RF area, so if you've got a lot of microphones and things like that, the RF spectrum is crowded. The Audio Ape remote jumps around. It sends a bunch of signals out, and whatever gets there, it gets there and comes back. And you can see if it's going to get there or not, because there's a little LED right here. And when it pushes the button and the receiver gets it, it sends a message back to the remote, and it lights up, letting you know that it round tripped, that it actually got there and did its thing. The other cool thing about the receiver on this is I mentioned that the Perfect Cue, you have to have, it's like dip switches too, to pair your remotes. You have to get a little thing in there and all sorts of things like that. And if you want to reconfigure it, you have to use the Windows software, which is really ridiculous in my case, in my fact. Like I don't have Windows for one. I'm using QLab for show control. I'm using ProPresenter for slides, things like that. I can't do the Windows app. This receiver right here is a touchscreen, and it allows you to reconfigure the device really easily. So the thing I like about this remote is it has 5 physical buttons on it, but there's actually 10 button presses you can do, because each button also allows you to push and hold. And when you push and hold it, it sends a different command. So you can have 10 different commands on this remote right here. And not to mention, you can pair up to 20 different remotes to the one system and have different button commands for each of those 20 remotes. So what's amazing about that is you can give a remote to your presenter that has the go button for the slides, but then you can have another remote paired just for you as an operator that pushes the MIDI command for the go button in QLab. You can also have, again, like I said, have 10 different buttons on that and 20 different remotes programmed to 10 buttons each. So that is really, really amazing. Now let me talk a little bit about the MIDI commands. What that is again, I mentioned the MIDI, and I like that because the Perfect Cue remote doesn't do MIDI commands. The only thing that the Perfect Cue remote does is button presses on your keyboard. So the Audio Ape remote, and again, this is the Audio Ape Pro remote, and it is pricier than the Perfect Cue, but it is 100% worth it. So the thing about the MIDI commands is MIDI commands allow you to essentially get to your application no matter what's in front. And so ProPresenter can be configured to take MIDI commands to push it. So I can during a show be working in QLab or something else and not even have ProPresenter front and center, and the person on stage can push it and go to their next slide, all while I'm trying to get things around for the next part of the show. Same thing with QLab. QLab takes the MIDI commands, and you can have it go on the push of a button, and it doesn't have to be front and center. So you can take your whole show and give it to an operator in the back, and they don't have to even worry about it because you're going to be the one controlling it. They can be doing other things on their thing. Now, one of the things that I'm probably not necessarily going to use with this is this thing does allow you to also have a standalone audio player on it. So you can't really see it here, but there is a slot in here for an SD card. You can put WAV files on this SD card and use this as a standalone player because it actually has a headphone out on it. And you can plug that right into your soundboard and get audio right from this without any laptop. You don't even need a laptop if all you're doing is audio for your show. You can just use the Audio Ape remote and control that all while using this remote, this fun remote right here. So you can control all that with just that, and it's all standalone. This thing is amazing, guys. It is a little bit pricier than other remotes, but again, remember what you're getting with that. You're getting 2,500 feet reception. So you can walk 2,500 feet away from your laptop and still be able to do the show that you're looking to do, all while knowing it's actually happening because you can see the round tripping light right here on the remote. The other thing too is that because you can do so many things with it, with the different buttons, again, you can have one remote for you, one remote for a presenter, and have different buttons on each of the remotes. Up to 20 different remotes. Now, if you're a solo person and you're doing something on stage, they also make something that's really intriguing for me. It's an ankle. It's like an ankle thing that you put on your ankle, one on one ankle, one on the other. One has a magnet on it, and one has a special remote that when your two ankles get close together, it presses a button. And so you can actually go hands-free and advance your slides or do your show or whatever, all without anyone even knowing that you're controlling the show. So if you've not checked it out yet, audioaperemote.com is an amazing, amazing, amazing piece of hardware designed by somebody in the show business, in the business, so they know what they're talking about. They designed it because they needed to have a rock solid remote, and this is the rock solid remote that you're looking for. So go check it out, audioaperemote.com, and check it out.